One of the most common agent mistakes I see on counteroffers is when they write terms or clauses on counteroffers that create unclear or ambiguous language. Any agent who allows their clients to sign something that is somewhat ambiguous or unclear is weakening their client's position by introducing some unpredictability. You don't know how different parties may interpret what you are trying to say. And according to Car Legal, if a judge cannot conclusively tell just by looking at your statement, a judge may apply the ambiguity rule. If you broke it, you pay. In other words, if you wrote it, you lose. Let's take a look at some of the most common ambiguity statements I've seen on counteroffers. Here's the classic seller reserves all services. This statement continues to exist through decades of realtors practicing monkey see, monkey do. If you ask any realtor where they learned this from, it's probably from another realtor. The problem is, what exactly do they mean by seller reserves all services? I think most can agree that services here mean escrow and title services. But to be safe, whenever I see these statements on counteroffers as a TC, I am forced to ask what they mean by services. Does this include NHD? What about home warranty? And trust me, I get different answers. And when they write all services, well, a home inspector is also providing a service. So does that mean the seller is also reserving that service? How would you interpret this statement? Inspection to be 10 days. Does this mean you have 10 days to do your inspection? How long does a typical inspection take? 2 hours? While here, it sounds like they may want you to take a full 10 days to do your inspection. But here's what my agent was really trying to say. On the 11th day, she calls me and asks me, Jimmy, has the buyer removed their inspection contingency? And I said, no, I don't believe it's due until next week. And she said, yeah, I counted for the inspection to be 10 days. And I said, well, let's see what it says here. It says inspection to be 10 days. I don't see anywhere that talks about any contingency. Here's another one, COE plus 3. If you're a newer agent, you may not know exactly what this means. That's because this was an item taken from MLS input sheets from decades ago. If you wanted to publish in the MLS that your seller was planning on staying 3 days after the close of escrow, then you would check the box that said COE plus 3. Here, it's trying to fit in as a legal term. But how would the typical consumer interpret this? If you ask me, sounds like you're trying to have the buyer solve a riddle or do the math, right? Close of escrow to be 3 additional days. How about sale contingency upon seller finding replacement property and both escrows to close concurrent? A couple of things going on here. One, the agent did not include the SPRP form with the counteroffer. The agent is relying on this one statement to protect their seller. But how long does the seller have to find a property? When do time periods start? What if the seller never finds another property? What are the buyer's cancellation rights? Secondly, the agent wrote both escrows to close concurrent. This is another monkey see, monkey do term. The reality is you only have a small chance for both escrows to close on the same day. Agent may be providing a false promise here. And by the way, the word concurrent does not appear at all in the SPRP form. Here's a similar situation. Tenants will vacate the property at close of escrow. Again, agent is relying on this one statement without incorporating the appropriate attachment, the TOPA form. Now, why would you need a tenant occupied property addendum if the tenants are moving out? Well, what if they don't move out? Will the buyer have a cancellation right? What happens if the buyer decides to close with the tenants in the property? All this is addressed in the TOPA form. Keep in mind that car forms are already written by legal attorneys. All the terms you need when creating a legal binding agreement between a buyer and a seller are on these car forms. it is recommended that you find the paragraph for the item your client is trying to counter in the RPA. Make sure you understand its content, then reference that paragraph. For example, escrow holder to be ABC escrow, title to be XYZ title. Paragraph 3L3, investigation of property contingency to be 10 days, etc. If what you are trying to counter is not in the RPA, then you're not really countering an item. You are actually trying to add additional terms to the contract. And that's when you need to seek legal advice or call Card Legal for guidance. Friends, if you found this information helpful, would you please subscribe to our YouTube channel? And don't forget to share this video with a colleague. I'll see you on the next one.